How's it going, Canuck fans? David here. Today I'll be addressing the news of the day, which is Michael Ferland signing with the Vancouver Canucks on a $14 million 4-year contract. Overall, I'm very happy with this contract. I think Jim did very well. And I know there are people who do not support Jim and who think that in free agency he's been really bad. And honestly, his history hasn't been great. I think today he did well. Free agency is a time where people get overpaid, and Ferland's a guy who's proven that he can get 40 points. He can be very physical. He can play on any one of your 4 lines, and we got him for $3.5 million. Realistically, I see him slotting in potentially in our top 6. If not, he'll make a very strong third line winger. I think I'd be shocked if they don't give him a chance with PD and Besser. I think he definitely. He hits guys, he chases guys down, and he creates a lot of loose pucks. And we know that PD, it doesn't take a lot. He doesn't need a lot of space to do something special. So I'm very happy with this signing. I think he can put up points. He can bring physicality. And we talk about how important physicality is. But over the past few years, we've just brought in the wrong guys for that type of game. We saw Branson. He was sort of clumsy. Del Zotto, he had a bunch of hits. But again, not great defensively. Ferland, there's no outstanding issues with his defensive play. And I think he has potential to be a great addition to this lineup. However, the signing does have other implications. Well, we already knew that Vancouver was pretty tight for cap, but now they're even more tight than they already were. Because basically they have around $5 million, if I'm not mistaken, and they need to sign Besser and ideally Goldobin. And Besser, I've seen people say he doesn't deserve, I think Besser's going to make them between 7 to 8, honestly. And we don't have the cap space right now to do it. So we need to make a trade. And this is where things get interesting. Because for years now, Vancouver fans have wanted the ownership to be proactive. And we've wanted Tanev gone. We've wanted Sutter gone. We've wanted Eriksson moved. Even though Eriksson has been very difficult to move for obvious reasons, his contract. But now Vancouver's forced to make a move. And I think the easiest piece to move to get value back and get rid of a contract would be Chris Tanev, because teams like Chris Tanev, and we've seen rumors of him going to all these different places, and teams desperately need, they're so rare, a good right shot defenseman. And I think Tanev is that. And Tanev, for us in the past, has been injured quite a bit. However, ideally, I wouldn't like to see Tanev go, because think about our top 4 like this: Hughes, Tanev, Edler, Myers. That's an unbelievable top 4. And although I think Stetcher is ready to make the jump and be play on the second pairing and potentially take Tanev's space, it does destroy our depth, and there is going to be injuries this year. And Tanev is still a nice piece to have. So ideally, in a perfect world, it would be Brandon Sutter who gets moved. Brandon Sutter is making more than $4 million. He's a centerman, and Adam Gaudette is ready to take his spot. We all know the famous Sutter stat from last year that for most of the year he had 1 assist, and that took place on opening night. And it just isn't good enough. It's offensive production. We know that Beagle is a shutdown guy, and Sutter too. And we can't have 2 shutdown lines on this hockey team. Our 4th line last year was outscored at a 2-to-1 rate, and we can't have 2 lines which don't produce any offense. Imagine Gaudette taking that Sutter spot, and that third line being Ferland, Gaudette, or Virtanen. That'd be sick. Or even if Berchi comes down, it'd be Berchi, Gaudette, Virtanen. Maybe not the best defensive line, but they're gonna get you points. And as long as you don't need to play them so much in the defensive zone. And I think Sutter would be the best piece to move here. However, if we were to do that, it would require a sweetener, because no team is going to want to just voluntarily take on a Brandon Sutter contract. And I was preaching this concept for so long, and it's kind of funny because now it's reversed, and so have many Canuck fans on Twitter have been wanting to weaponize cap space. Use the cap space that we have, take on a bad contract, and force a team to give us a good player with that bad contract. However, now we're the team that's already cap crunched, and that's cap crunch, sorry, and we need to get rid of a bad contract. And so we might have to add a piece. I really don't think Vancouver will part with Gaudette. I see people saying Virtanen, maybe Stetcher. And I did an Insta poll actually today, which had around 40 votes, and it said, which out of the following three players do you think is most likely to get traded this offseason? Tanev, Sutter, Eriksson, and I even put a fourth option, which was other, which included Vertanen, Goldobin, like, etc. And the majority, 43% of the votes went to Brandon Sutter. So clearly the fans, well, at least the fans who voted, would like him to be moved as well. And I think it is possible. We will need to add a sweetener, though, versus a guy like Tanev. We most likely won't need to add anything because teams want a guy like Tanev. Also, we might have to overpay in a trade, too, because teams around the league know how desperate we are to sign Besser, and they know that we need to move a contract. So I wouldn't be surprised if it results in a trade, which Canuck fans aren't happy with. However, one thing is certain. The Canucks have got better this offseason. We look at opening night lineup, and this has been all over Twitter, but I'm going to restate it. We lost from last year's opening night lineup Goodbranson, Del Zotto, Pouliot, and Hutton was a scratch. This year, in our opening night lineup, we're adding Myers, Hughes, and Jordy Ben. That's an improvement. Up front, we have Pearson for a full season. We have JT Miller, who we acquired, who should score 20 goals. And now today we have Michael Ferland, who's another guy who can put up points and can play physical. And when we do make the playoffs, either this year or next year, because we're going to, he will be physical. He plays a great game for playoff hockey. And I think this offseason we added guys who can play physical hockey come playoffs, as well as, and we built around our speed and skill. And I'm just so excited for the future. I think this offseason has gone as well as what we could have hoped for, honestly. And I think Jim's figuring things out. It seems that way, of course. And yeah, of course it's like anybody who we sign or trade for is a gamble. It's never 100%. But I think we made some very safe moves, and moves which we could be very happy with during the season. And if anyone wasn't before, I think today was another reason why Canuck fans should be on team playoffs. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Ferland signing and its impacts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at FanVancouver. And thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to pop out more videos throughout the rest of the summer. And go Canucks go.